Well, good morning, Renaissance Unity. Good morning, Renaissance Unity. Good morning to all of you who are joined us here in this space and those of you who are joining us online. We are so grateful for you and for the opportunity to have this conversation, a conversation with you about the goodness and the greatness of God. You know, the lead into it, it started off with Prayer Chaplain Ruth, who walked us in and started and opened up our hearts, and the music that we heard upon entering the goodness of God. We are so blessed. And I'm glad that you are here. Grateful for you. Our online people, grateful for you. Give a shout out in the wave. Glad that you are joining us. We are grateful for your energy, your consciousness, and your presence here, how you have joined us. So I want you just to take a moment with me and just breathe as I acknowledge the presence of Spirit in me. And I say, dear God, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to be present in this space, to be a reminder, to be the I am of you here. And so let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable. Oh Lord, you are my strength, my rock, my salvation. Amen. So let's get started. Before I get started, point of privilege. May I have a point of privilege? Yes. I got to tell y'all something. So, this is really important. Really, really important. Last week at the picnic, there was a group that made their premiere. It was Reverend Wilma and the Prophets. So I want to thank the Prophets. Wherever you are, Frank Floyd, Darrell Campbell, and Glenn McIntosh. Didn't we do an amazing job? Now, let me just say this. I'm under construction, so what y'all heard was just me not warming up. But just in case you want to know a couple of things, I want to also thank our musical director, Miss Daisy Love, and she's our manager. So if you want to book us, let me know. And just so you know that we will be signing pictures outside at the end of the service. Amen? Amen. And if you want to book us, let us know, because all profits go to the Ladies of Unity. Let's get started. I thought I'd give you all a chuckle. Oh, did I tell you the album is dropping this week, right? So get ready. So now let me ask you something, beloved. Have you ever built a new home? Have you remodeled a kitchen or added a porch or even just painted a room? If you have, then you know that construction is messy. It's dusty. Everything is all out of order. And you're frustrated. There's noise, delays, inconvenience. But oh my, when everything is finished, oh my, when you step back and look at what you've created or what has been created, isn't that awesome? Well, beloved, our spiritual lives are the same way. Each of us, is under construction. We are a construction site for spirit. In Philippians 1:6, it says, be confident of this, that he who began a good work, a great work in you, will carry it on to completion. So I need your help. It's not a sit and get, okay? You know, Reverend Glenn usually has y'all standing up. I'm not going to do you like that this morning. But I am going to ask you to look at a neighbor and tell that neighbor, pardon my dust, I'm under construction. Wait. Look at a neighbor and tell him, pardon my dust. I'm under construction. Okay, now you are online. You don't get away. So you need to type in the chat, pardon my dust. I'm under divine construction. We are all here together. One family, one faith, one construction. In the name of Spirit. And as we look around in Detroit, we see a lot going on. We see the construction going on. When they told me, or when it was announced that 696 was going to close, I laid out on the floor and died. How am I going to get to church on Sunday? Because, see, I had it timed perfectly. Even my car understood that when I got in at 8:45, it was going to take me 15 minutes to get here. And they said on my dashboard, it says significant location or something. And it knew where I was going. But then, when they said 696 was closing, I was like, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to start out a whole hour and a half. And in my mind, I was planning my route until Siri helped me out. She planned that route for me, told me what to do. And guess what? Same amount of time. I'm just riding on alongside of 696 on 10 Mile. So if you've driven through Detroit, you see the Walter Reuther Freeway, the Goldie Howe Bridge being built, the Skyline Apartments, week after week. Do you all remember when we first started? What was over there? It was a theater. Do you remember? It was a theater. And as we continue to come to this space, something happened. The theater was demolished and a high-rise went up. So as we travel this journey, we're going to talk about construction. It's everywhere. And what does it teach us? That progress is happening. And even if it feels slow, even if it looks messy, and even if the dust clouds our vision, beloved, God works on us the same way. We are under construction. If you had a season of construction and delays in your life, raise your hand. Now, if you look around, that is all of us. That's me too. And metaphysically, it teaches us that in the natural world, construction is about building buildings, roads, pathways, and structures. But metaphysically, construction is about the unfoldment of our consciousness. God is the architect. The structure that we build is the character and the tools and the thoughts. Beloved, your thoughts are the hammers and the nails. Your words are the beams and the bricks. Your actions are the rising up of structures. And God is the master building and the blueprint. How many of you all remember Pigpen from Charlie Brown? You remember Pigpen? Everywhere he went, he was a ball of dust. Did Pigpen care? Not at all. He didn't care. He didn't care that people, and you know what was so cool about it? His friends didn't mock him. They didn't make fun of him. They let him be who he was because he was in the middle of constructing who he is. Life often feels like a construction zone for us, doesn't it? Detours, routes, walls torn down. And when a familiar path closes, like my road to 696, it's not punishment, it's preparation. When a wall comes down, it's making room for something stronger. When dust clouds your vision, it's a sign that transformation is on the way. God is refining your foundation. God is smoothing out the rough paths. God is expanding your capacity. Our foundation for this evening, this morning, is Jeremiah 29:11. And it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." Myrtle Fillmore says, when the individual keeps the mind in tune with God's mind, they know constant harmony, order, success, and help is on the way. So as we look at this message, if we break it down metaphysically, it says, divine blueprint. Spirit holds a perfect plan for us. Prosperity, not to harm us. God intends always good. Wholeness, peace, and abundance. And a hope in the future, a life that continuously unfolds with promise, growth, and new possibilities. Construction. What does that feel like for you? Have you ever had a situation where you are just feeling restless and you are just uncomfortable? You know, when you have on too tight shoes, or when you've eaten too much and your belt is tight. That's God calling you to a higher place. You are under construction. As we look at this idea of being under construction, we, as students of truth, are traveling down this highway, this freeway, a place where we can't be the same. When we travel freeways, there's a road, and because it's continuously traveled, what happens to that road? It wears. And then you get those big old potholes. Can't drive, it's not smooth. That's us. That was me. Being comfortable with how I traveled the road to this place. Wanting it to be the same. Wanting me to be able to get in my car, fire it up, and drive the same way that I came every day. I was inconvenienced. I like it. And then on top of that, they had those orange cones, those big barrels, those long white signs that are orange, you know, the things that block you off. And I made the mistake one day of trying to turn there because I forgot. And everybody behind me was blowing to remind me. You can't turn there. And I said, I know. And if I didn't have Reverend in front of my name, something else would have come out of my mouth. But as we travel down these freeways, as we travel this road, we have to sometimes take an unfamiliar path. It may take longer. It may be frustrating. And yet when the construction is finished, the road is smoother, safer, and easier to travel. Isn't that life? Isn't that life? Isn't that our spiritual journey, that we encounter seasons where God closes down the familiar pathway for us? And then we are focused on the detours, the new job, the new relationship, the unexpected challenges, the health crisis, or life transitions. And in the moment, it feels disruptive, uncomfortable, and you want to get away. But Spirit The divine engineer is always at work creating a smoother pathway, building a better you and preparing you for your destiny. As truth students and metaphysicians, we recognize construction zones are not punishment, they are process. A season of construction is really a season of spiritual unfolding. As we look at this idea of construction, we think about how it has to happen. There has to be a plan. God holds the blueprint for our highest good. There must be financing. We must invest our faith and stand in our truth. That is our spiritual currency that funds our transformation. We design. The divine mind is the architect shaping the vision of our lives. We build. Every thought, every prayer, every meditation, every action lays a brick in the structure of our soul. The maintenance of this road, this pathway, is forgiveness, prayer, and spiritual practice that keeps us building strong. Well, how is it when we enter a phase of spiritual construction? There are three. We go into this, you go down that road where all those cones that scoot you over to one lane. And the people behind you don't want to wait. And you feel the disruption, some anger and something boiling up inside of you. And the life is not flowing as spirit begins this. What is the word I'm looking for? Bringing it out. Excavation. That's it. And in the throes of construction, we experience delays and detours. But beneath the dust is divine design unfolding. And as we exit, because there are signs, the sign that told you you're coming into a construction zone and the one that tells you you're exiting, we emerge renewed, realigned, and ready to walk into a smoother path. Who we are and what we have been called to do can't be static. We have to change. And in our changing, we are under construction. We are spiritual beings, Reverend Glenn, experiencing life as a human and entering this sacred construction zone, not of concrete or steel, but of consciousness and soul. And this is not merely a season of change, it's a divine rebuilding. Just as engineers close the road to repair cracks and strengthen infrastructure, so does Spirit. Spirit reroutes our lives to reconnect us to the inner landscape. The detours that we face, the loss, the uncertainty, are not obstacles, but sacred tools. They are metaphysical jackhammers breaking up what no longer serves us and making our way for a divine idea and design. Spirit is breaking up those old patterns and those things that we have become comfortable with. How many of you have things that you're comfortable with and that you don't want to let go? Be honest. You are in a time, I'm calling you out. I'm throwing down the gauntlet. I'm giving you a challenge. Allow this Sunday to be the time that you step into a new construction zone. Well, what does it require to move through a construction zone? It requires patience. Trust the dust. It means progress. Faith. The blueprint belongs to God. Community construction is not a solo project. Together we co-create. Surrender. Letting go of outdated structures and thoughts that slow you down. Here's some other pieces, some tools that you can use. Affirmative prayer, meditation, faith in action. Now, you say, Reverend Wilma, that's what I'm going through. But can you give me some examples? Absolutely. I can give you some biblical examples. How about Naomi? She was bitter, wasn't she? Didn't she change her name? I think she did. What about changing her name to Mara? And so when everybody says, hello, Mara, they were saying, hello, bitter. What about Moses? Now, Moses had some problems, didn't he? I won't talk about him to his face, but Moses had problems. He was transformed and delivered. David was a shepherd boy, but you know David had a reputation, didn't he? He had a reputation, and I'm not going to tell you. You all know. What about Jonah? Jonah was doing what? Running from God, and he had to stop. What about Peter? You know, the one who sliced off someone's ear? Impulsive. Denying Jesus. And what about Paul, who used to be called Saul and had to be transformed on the road to what? Damascus. Each of them shows us that construction takes time. It takes time. And we could have a Paul, a Mara, a Noah, a Moses. There are so many examples in the Bible. You know, Unity tells us that the Bible is a guide. It is the unfolding of man's consciousness from generation to degeneration to regeneration. And so we look at the Bible and those examples and all of those characters and experiences in the Bible are things that we experience. And as we read them, as we see their story, we understand they overcome. And if they've overcame, can you? Can you? Can't hear you. Yes. All right. So we go to the next slide. If we have moved through and we know that what we need to move through, here's something for you to ponder. Within each of us is a divine blueprint of perfection. Let's read that together. Ready? Within each. Now, what did you notice? Did you all do that in unison? No. You know why? Because our construction is individual. It's individual. We are not always going to see the light at the same time. We are not going to evolve at the same time. But the end result is that we finish this together, correct? Take a picture of that one. Save it. This is the one that's really special to me. As I was preparing for this talk, I was just digging through some old pages, some books, and some archives, and I came across a video, Brett, and it was Jack Bowen, and he was discussing the church of today and what it would look like. No, I'm not bringing this up for nostalgia's sake, for anyone to feel sad or some kind of way about it. It's a good example of construction, of vision, and a belief. And we everyone seated in this space is the ultimate benefactor of a dream and of a vision. A vision that started somewhere in Kansas City with two people, Myrtle and Charles Fillmore, that filtered into Michigan and other states. And a group of people, a small group of people, heard it, embraced it, and started a study group. From that study group became a church that they opened a spiritual center on Coram in Queens. And from Coram in Queens, they built a building. And it wasn't the building, because the church is not a building. The church or the Spirit is in us. And they've carried that, deposited that, created that, formed that's constructed that for us. And we, right here, are the benefactors of that vision that started over 100 years ago. Did y'all catch my drift? Where it started, where it traveled, what it's evolved into, and right now, we, Renaissance Unity. And Renaissance is a beginning, a start. Unity is the allness and the oneness. Renaissance Unity, that's us. And we, as a spiritual center, as a body, are under construction. We are growing, we're rebuilding, we are renewing. Amen? I need to hear something. Amen? As we look at what we have traveled through, the rough roads, the patches, COVID, and we're here, resilient, with tenacity, with strength, with courage, with a consciousness to be present, because we were called to this space, to be here, to do what is ours to do. So in Renaissance Unity, we're rebuilding our foundation of spiritual teaching. Isn't that a cute picture? And teach, wait a minute. Can y'all see them? There's Linda, there's Todd, there's Reverend Glenn, and over here is Miss Leah. Isn't that powerful? And look at everyone is what? Smiling. Smiling. I just have one bone to pick. You know what I'm getting ready to say, right? Where's my picture? We're rebranding with a fresh vision that speaks to our time and our community. What happened 100 years ago is not apropos to what we need now. Our time is different. I'm not going to go into why, but you all know why. We are in a challenge, and all of us have been called to be here to help rebrand, rebuild. We are renewing our hearts, our mission, and our unity, and we stand like a lighthouse of love, hope, and transformation. Take a picture of that one. Life is a sacred construction zone. At times, Spirit closes the familiar road and leads us down unexpected detours, not to confuse us, but to transform us. These moments of disruption are divine intervention to grow, heal, and make us new. God, the master builder, is always at work soothing our rough spots, our places, and reinforcing our spiritual foundation and preparing us for the destiny that we were born to fulfill. The builder, the blueprint, the architect. I was reading a book, found one, Sacred Contract by Carolyn, M-Y-S-S. I always mess up her last name, so I'll just spell it. And she talked about each one of us coming here on a sacred contract. We're all spirits here in this space. We came here to do something, and each one of us a archetype, whether it's an educator, a lawyer, whatever our archetype is, that's what we came here to do. And so we've been called to this space to be what is needed on this earth. But while we're here, sometimes the flesh gets weary, but the spirit says yes. And so we are here under construction to do what is ours to do, to be what the world needs at this time. You know what it is. It could be a book. It could be a testimony about your healing. It could be the education that you have put on the back burner. You know what your destiny is. You know how you contribute to this world. Allow the construction process to renew, refurbish, and to bring you into your greatness. God is doing a great works. Now it's affirmation time. Take a look at that affirmation. And it tells and speaks to what we have talked about very briefly. Read it together. I am. Read that last line with a little bit of enthusiasm, please. Beloved, as we prepare to close, pardon my dust, under divine construction. The divine is the God in you, and the God in you is creating the new you, transforming you. I'm reminded of Nehemiah. Do you all remember Nehemiah in the Bible? His story is not just about rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem, but about repairing lives, restoring hope, and leading with integrity. Nehemiah was not only a builder of structures, he was a reformer, a man who called the people to ethical living and spiritual renewal. He reminds us that construction is not only about what we see on the outside, but what we see, the spiritual infrastructure on the inside. I'm reminded of this truth when I saw the story about the Windsor Tunnel. Did you all see that one? The vital link between Detroit and Windsor. Since 1930, the master builder and engineer leading the renovation understood the assignment. And guess what? She's a woman. She understood to extend the tunnel's plan. She understood it was necessary to replace aging infrastructures, to upgrade electrical and safety systems, to improve surface conditions, and to maximize disruption. The tunnel was being renewed for future generations. And just like the tunnel, God is working on us, renewing our hearts, minds, and spirit. Charles Fillmore, and I talked about this earlier, says that the story of humanity is generation, degeneration, and regeneration. Construction is as old as the pyramids and as mighty as the Tower of Babel, and as near as the roof on your house, the gutters, your driveway, the renovations that we've had to endure. Construction is messy, It's disruptive and inconvenient, but always leading to renewal. And so it is with our souls, our bodies under divine construction, calling ourselves to regenerate, our bones to renew, our consciousness to expand. And spiritually, we too are being rebuilt. Sometimes we feel restless, boxed in, uncomfortable, and like I said earlier, tight shoes and a heavy meal. But discomfort is often the sign that transformation is happening. God is building something greater within us. So the question becomes for you, beloved, what are you building in this season of construction? Are you holding faith? Are you holding on to faith? Are you building on your rock of faith or standing in fear, the fear of sin? Are you willing to allow Spirit to lay a new foundation of prosperity, peace, and health? Are you willing to let go of all the old so the new can emerge? Yes, construction is a journey of disruption, but also one of destiny. It is the work of God reshaping and reforming us, renewing us, reminding us of who and whose we are. So I say to you, pardon my dust. Pardon my dust, but please notice the divine construction, because the best is yet to come. So I say to you, here's an affirmation, and I'm not sure if I gave this one to him, but repeat after me. I am under divine construction every day. Spirit is building me to a stronger, better foundation of love, faith, and wholeness. And yes, the best is yet to come. Breathe with me. Take a deep breath in and gently let it out. A couple more things before I leave your space. You got something coming when you leave here. And I forgot, y'all. I had this so I could tell y'all. To remind y'all that I am under construction. I need the hard hat. You like my color, my hard? So you get one too. So when you leave, there's a hard hat for you, and it's to remind you. It's to remind you of who you are and what you will be working on this week. And as you carry your little hard hat, take a picture. I'm under divine construction. I trust God's blueprint for my life. I support and celebrate others as they, too, are being built into something great. This week's New Thought Unity message reminds us that we're all under construction and that we are going to move through it with faith, love, and healing. So, ladies and gentlemen, beloved in Renaissance Unity, my family, it is my prayer this morning that something that I've said, as you have pulled to this table of consciousness and dined sufficiently, that you have been filled with the spiritual sustenance that will carry you into this week, that you will have the fuel to walk in your truth. I hope that you fill up and take a doggy bag. Well, not a doggy bag, because I'm aging myself. What do they call it now? To-go containers. Take a to-go container. And if you need to dine again, if you need to eat again, It's going to be on YouTube. Y'all going to be on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and see it. It is well and it is done.